I love Christ Community is an intentionally gospel-oriented community. That we are a people who are seeking to not only believe something, but embody something. I love that Christ Community is a place where it is not only for how we care for our members, that we apply the gospel for how we care for our members, but also thinking strategically and thoughtfully of how we engage our unbelieving friends and neighbors with the gospel. I think that Christ Community is the kind of place where we have an authenticity and a depth. We want to be a church that is deep and wide. We want to have this broad invitation, the broadness of Jesus' invitation. Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. His arms are open wide. But there's also a depth of His love and a depth of His transforming grace that not only says, come as you are, but I promise that you will not leave as you came. And I think that Christ Community is a church that embodies that fullness of God's grace as a people.
So when God placed the little groundlings, or otherwise known as Eve and Adam, in the garden and gave them a place where they were going to grow and cultivate and dwell with Him, and the beauty of God would spill out into the garden to the rest of the world. Place and making a place is a central theme of Scripture. And so when we lost that with the fall in Genesis 3, I think we all feel the remnants of not having a place, of not belonging, and feeling the necessity to ground ourselves to something or someplace or have a home base or something like that. And so one of the things that I am looking forward to is that being fully redeemed in new heavens and new earth in the city of God and dwelling with Him and just experiencing what it means to really bask in having a place that you share with everyone, and it's eternal and it's ever beautiful and never changing. So that's kind of my hope, and I think that's what we bring to the Square, is that we are placemaking.
Location is really important. It's oftentimes misunderstood and devalued in our contemporary society, but actually it really matters because God has created us to be a people of time and space, and there are rhythms to a city and to a place. And instead of trying to reroute the traffic and the culture of a city to try to reach us, we actually have forever kind of embodied and thought of ourselves as a downtown church community. As Fayetteville expands and we grow numerically, this continues to be the cultural and thought artery of our community. So many times churches are moving out of downtown spaces, and we wanted to be a church to move in to downtown spaces. And so we really want to be a place that can be present in the city. We want to be engaging the city. We want to be influencing the city. And to be honest, we want the city to influence us, because we really want this reciprocal relationship with the people we're around as we do life together, as we bring the whole gospel to the whole city. And so our geography matters in that process.
Yeah, so as a person who is not a Northwest Arkansas native and moved here during a long time, being on the Square makes me feel more so like a Fayettevillian. I wore my Tevas way longer than I typically would, mainly because this is outdoor sandal vibe. And so yeah, it makes me feel part of the city, part of the community, because we're just right so much in the smack dab of things. And so I think it's grounded me a little bit more so than I would have anticipated.
Sunday mornings serving downstairs have been very sweet. Even though, we're in masks, it's been the sweet things where kids are gathering and they're worshiping as Rachel or Kaylee has led them, and they're all in this one space, and it's a little bit chaotic and a little bit loud, but we're sitting on these, carpet squares that, Heather Davidson picked out. And we are, making noise and worshiping and singing along. And I think that the children's time downstairs have been a super cool thing to be a part of and just see and seeing the walls, because it once was a computer room. And then now it's a space where, kids, where our children are coming to worship. And that is just, it's so cool and such a bringing to fruition so much of what our body has prayed for.
99 Balloons is a nonprofit organization dedicated to fighting isolation for people experiencing disability. We provide ministry models for churches to put on monthly respite nights, create community and friendships for adults experiencing disability, and work with global partners to provide education for children in developing nations. We were excited to work with Christ Community, not just because we love this church, but throughout our history as an organization, we've always partnered with churches. And so when this opportunity came up, we were excited to work with you all, as well as have an amazing space on the square.
In the next 5 years, I honestly can't help but reflect about myself personally. In the next 5 years going, my kid is going to graduate high school, and she will have spent, and this almost feels emotional, she will have spent so much time with this body as she's launched, and she has spent time in these walls and in the youth center and with David and Anna. And the next 5 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, so much life is going to be lived in this building, and that's so exciting. And so I think for our community, as we seek to connect with the city and be in the city, I think that we're going to continue to see the city of Fayetteville grow and this become a continued heartbeat. And I think that the next 5 years, we're going to be able to touch a lot of people, that people's lives will be changed just by us being on this street corner here. And I'm really excited to see what happens.